Welcome into the Screening Room podcast, taking a look at what's new in the theaters and for home streaming. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we are from MaddWolf.com. And the second week with the new mics. Thank you for all the comments. And you think I'm kidding, but there were some. So it's not just me being excited, but thank you. I know it sounds better, and I'm sorry it took me so long. But we'll start on the big screen with one that should get some people talking.
First up in theaters, a dark comedy about a happily engaged couple put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding week off the rails. It's The Drama.
Yes, it's Robert Pattinson. It's Zendaya. They're an engaged couple making plans for the wedding. So perfect date night movie, right? Well, the poster there should give you a clue that it's not your average romantic comedy. And this is one I've been saying that if you're going to make this a date night, you might have the movie first and the dinner after, because you're going to want to carve out some time to talk about this, because it is something else. Early on, it's pretty much a standard, engagement plan. They're making all the big plans. They're tasting food and
dance
drinking
lessons,
wine. They're taking dance lessons. They're get a meeting with a DJ and all that stuff. Going to be a big deal. But when they're out with some of their planners, they're tasting some food for the menu and drinking some wine, maybe a little too much wine, with their best man and maid of honor. They start playing this funny game about what's the worst thing you've ever done. And for the three of them, before we get to Zendaya's Emma, they have, funny, embarrassing stories that are actually pretty good from a writer's standpoint, of a story that, that's something you probably don't want to tell a lot of people, but it's when you've grown up, it's kind of harmless, but it's on that borderline of being funny and embarrassing, but forgettable. But then when it gets to Emma, Zendaya's character, boy, she's got a humdinger of something to say, and it just changes the room right away, and then just changes everything for her fiance Charlie, for her friends, especially her maid of honor. Takes what she said very, very seriously, and it becomes a very dark comedy, exploring some really dark places, and somehow finds comedy in it. And the writer-director is Christopher Borgley.
Who did Dream Scenario a couple of years ago with Nicolas Cage, which was also very, very dark, but funny.
It was funny. I also did Sick of Myself before that.
Oh, right.
So he's got that way. And this one even more, because Dream Scenario really dove into the internet fame and how quickly people can be brought up and then torn down. And of course, that's very valid in today's world. But this one goes even darker. This one goes into the parts of ourselves that we don't talk about, that define ourselves, that we hope don't define ourselves, that define ourselves to other people, and the societal expectations. Man, there's so many places that it goes as Charlie tries to come to grips with now what he knows about his fiance in her past. And the performances are great. First of all, Pattinson and Zendaya, and the entire ensemble too is great, but mainly the two of them, as he tries to put this away, because he knows he should. I mean, they're going to get married here pretty soon. But you can tell in his demeanor, you can tell when they go to get practice photographs done, and the photographer is like, "Hey, let's see those smiles of everlasting love." And it's so awkward. It's so awkward. And a lot of this movie is cringy. Cringy, comedy of manners type awkward, on purpose. And Zendaya is equally good at her character now. She spilled something she didn't want to spill because of peer pressure out of this meeting and a little alcohol. And now she's trying to be the same person, but to the people around her and the people closest to her, she's not. And it's also very skillfully paced and edited, because Borgley puts in a lot of flashback scenes to Emma when she was a child and when certain things happened and how they got to that point. But it's woven in a way that's very visual. It gives you that visual storytelling, doesn't spoon feed you too much. And also there are times when you're not sure, is this something that really happened, or is this something that Charlie is imagining as he's letting his imagination run wild about how maybe it was even worse than Emma let on. this thing that she confessed. So it's fascinating in that way. And it takes a scenario that reminded me of the movie Force Majeure.
Sure, yeah.
That's been over 10 years now. You believe
That's
that?
crazy.
Ruben Östlund's Force Majeure that was then remade as Downhill, not as successfully years later. But in that one, a man's sudden fleeting act in a moment of panic redefined him to his wife and to his friends. And then you saw, much like in this movie, not only the effect on the couple, but on the people in the couple's orbit, which was just as fascinating.
Yes.
This one goes even darker because of the secret that she shares, which we're not going to share. I know it's out there.
Don't look it up.
Hopefully, the couple of places I've seen it, they were good enough to say spoiler alert. So I hope nobody spoils it without giving that alert, because it's something you don't want to know until you go in and feel the weight of it, just like the characters do when it finally comes down, because you can't guess it. You really can't. And it hits pretty hard. But he sticks that knife in and just keeps turning. And you can't believe he finds comedy in this, but he does, as these characters try to navigate forward. And a couple of the other supporting performances, Alana Haim.
Oh, yeah.
Is so good as her maid of honor, as Zendaya's maid of honor, Rachel, because this thing that she confesses turns out to be very personal. There's a reason that Rachel takes this very, very personally, and right away, boy, she is venomous, and Alana Haim gives that character a lot of teeth. So good on her, and also in a smaller role. What is the name? I forget. Oh, Haley Gates. Haley Gates as Misha, a co-worker of Robert Pattinson's, who is pulled into this a little bit unwittingly because Robert Pattinson's Charlie is having such a hard time dealing with it. And where that character goes and how she deals with it is also very impressive. It's a good performance there too. So the ensemble is great all the way around, but this one should really, really get some tongues wagging, I'll tell you. And it's the type of comedy that is not going to sit well with a lot of people, because it's
got an Ari Aster feel about it.
It does.
It
does.
Where you're like, is this funny?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's almost, you could see it maybe in the end, somebody waking up from a dream. They don't do that because that would be such an incredible cop-out.
Yes.
But it's one of those deals where it's so out there and so committed to mining this territory that is so uncomfortable. But these people have to deal with it because the plans have been made. The wedding is coming. What are we going to do? Early on in the script, which is very, very smartly written, the Charlie character says, you always take my drama and turn it into comedy. And that is a very telling line, because that's what happens here. There's a lot of drama, but they find comedy in it. And you can see it too in the poster, because they're beaten up. He's got a black eye, and it's just like, this is supposed to be a happy moment, and look at us. And it's just fascinating. It's like a thought experiment to just give you this 2-hour push and go, now, what do you think? Because it's much like Force Majeure. It's very easy to start picturing how I would do this.
Right.
Well, would you?
Right.
Would you now?
Right.
And it's one of those that it's easy to say until you're there in that situation. And not only for the couple involved, but their friends. How would you feel about if your friend said this or that, or something that was very personal to you? Would you do that? It's a fascinating thing to think about. And I give him credit for going there. He seems to be clearly the type of filmmaker that does that.
Yes.
It's ambitious. It's challenging. It's going to put some people off. But this is another one that I think of when people say, oh, it's just the same old crap at the theater.
Yeah.
There's not.
No.
There's not. You think this is a romantic comedy, a couple of big stars, but it's different. It's not the type of romantic comedy you're used to. So, but we give it a big recommendation, really. I think it's one that is just going to spur a lot of conversation, and that is not a bad thing.
No.
About movies or about your own situation and things and philosophies and society. So, a big recommendation for the drama. And that is, you're cordially invited to join, and it's in theaters now.
Next up for the families, Mario ventures into space, exploring cosmic worlds and tackling galactic challenges far from the familiar Mushroom Kingdom. It's the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
So let's recreate that conversation that we had. So is this Luigi?
One of us saw the first movie.
Are they plumbers?
They are plumbers.
Is this Donkey Kong? I remember the game.
Just wait until Skeletor. Just wait until He-Man comes out and the conversation. There's a lot of explaining.
Yeah, sorry, but I could have gone pro at Frogger.
That's
Just
right.
remember that.
That's right.
But I digress.
It's a funny thing. A couple of years back, they put out the Super Mario Brothers movie, and I was, I was pleasantly surprised by it. I didn't have any interest whatsoever in seeing it. I thought it was fun that Anya Taylor-Joy was in it. Like, wow, that's crazy. But it was a colorful, sort of delightful waste of time. And the two best things about the Super Mario Brothers movie from a couple of years, one, of course, Jack Black. Jack Black is a great voice for cartoons. He's great. And Bowser, he's the villain Bowser. He had a brilliant solo rock number that was like the highlight of the movie. And then the other thing I liked a lot about the first movie is that Donkey Kong is in it. And Seth Rogen did the voice, and he's sort of a petulant, whiny teenager. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. So at the end of the last movie, Bowser had been caught. He'd been miniaturized, and he was sort of going through rehab in a little dollhouse in Princess Peach's castle. And in this episode, his son, Bowser Jr., voiced by Josh Safdie, has kidnapped Princess Peach's sister, Princess Rosalina, who is voiced by Brie Larson. And he wants to get his dad back. And of course, he wants to destroy the universe. And so a couple of plumbers and their dinosaur friend go on a quest to save the universe.
As you do.
Exactly. And it's, it doesn't have as much going for it as the last film. It doesn't have as interesting a through line. What it really is a series of short bursts of action in different, incredibly, almost violently colorful atmospheres. It's very sugary and sweet. It's wholesome. It's almost diabolically wholesome. There are some funny sight gags. Keegan-Michael Key continues to play Toad, who is a little mushroom man who is Princess Peach's like bestie. And he gets some funny gags off, but some funny lines off. And it's a constant barrage of video game style action. We also have, so Glenn Powell shows up as this really cool fox, sort of a Han Solo character. And he gets a great intro that's anime, which was fun. But my favorite part is that periodically they sort of switch. It's Illumination. It's an Illumination film. So it's the kind of animation you would get from the Minions kind of movies. Very colorful and rounded and pretty. And every so often, then they'll switch, and the action, the chase sequence that you've just been watching, all of a sudden you're watching it like all pixelated as if you are playing it on Nintendo. And that's fun as well. But I mean, the story doesn't deliver nearly what the first one did. And the first one was a 3-star movie to start with. So it's fine. It's your kids are going to be a little hyperactive during and after the film. And there's not a lot in it for adults, where I think there were some fun bits the last time around for adults, but I think kids will like it, especially little kids.
I mean, you've got the nostalgia, I suppose, of people that grew up with Donkey Kong.
Well, Donkey Kong doesn't even come in.
Well, but we're going back to who's a part of
there's
the
a whole series of video games.
Okay.
And
I should just be quiet.
I sound like I played them either.
I mean, I played it.
You
but
played Donkey Kong.
I did. Yeah.
But you didn't play Mario Kart. You didn't play.
No.
They have a whole ton of video games.
Okay. All right. I should have just done my homework. But yeah, clearly aim for the kids.
Very little kids.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
lots of color, lots of movement.
Yep.
Splash for Easter weekend.
That's
so,
right.
Got the parents or the grandparents, got the kids, there you go.
Yeah.
They'd probably enjoy it. And it's only, what's the runtime there? Scroll down there. So it's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
There you go. It really shouldn't be any longer than that.
Oh my God, no.
So the Super Mario Galaxy movie is out now.
Let's go to Hulu next for a comedy about high college students facing an unexpectedly epic journey when they must navigate 2 flights of stairs to retrieve their pizza delivery, turning a simple task into a surreal adventure. It's Pizza Movie.
Pizza Movie, hopefully with pineapple.
This is not for your kids, by the way.
No, it's not for your kids.
Don't share this one with your kids. Although it's colorful.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is nuts. This movie is nuts. It's on Hulu. and R-rated comedy for sure. And I tell you, there were parts that I laughed at so hard I was catching my breath.
True.
Not the entire thing, but there are, as a lot of comedies like this go, there are some stretches, some dry stretches, but it throws so much at you that, okay, that's going to go by. Let it go by. Here comes something else. It's crazy. This is made by a couple of writers and directors are Nick Coker and Brian McElhaney. And I think they've been in the SNL writers room for a while. And this is their feature debut. And it centers on two college nerds played by Gaten Matazzaro of Stranger Things, of course. Everybody's either from Stranger Things or Game of Thrones. We should just assume. Or the Goldbergs, because that's the other guy, Sean Giambrone, is from the Goldbergs. So they're the two college nerds, and they find a tin of homemade drugs.
Like a little Altoids mint tin.
Yeah, it falls from the ceiling because it was stashed there 10 years ago. It's been in this room as other people have taken the dorm room over the years. But because they're getting a regular beat down from some football players, there's some jostling in the room, and it knocks the tin out of the ceiling, and there it is. And they take these drugs. And they only watch a little bit of the introductory video on YouTube made by the drug's inventor, played by Sarah Sherman from SNL. She's funny. And so they think they've seen enough and they turn it off. Bad mistake, because then they go ahead and take the drugs. And one of the things they didn't see in that YouTube primer was they have to take it with pizza, because if you don't eat pizza, some bad stuff's coming in the levels of side effects. And then the adventure begins. And it becomes almost sort of a levels of video game, because it goes through, you see text on the screen as it goes through the different side effects. You've got bad words, you've got the old switcheroo. That's just two of them, on the way to this really, really bad one at the end that involves a chainsaw being put where it does not belong. And you can stave that off if you get some pizza. So Lord of the Pies is going to deliver downstairs, 2 floors down, but they've got to get down there, and there's a whole lot keeping them from going down there. They've got vengeful football players, because there was a really unfortunate incident when Jack, one of the guys, was the football team mascot, that he let the team down very badly, and since then he gets regular beatdowns. There's also a band, a college band that is committed to playing only clown core vomit opera, which is really an interesting type of music, and they'll explain how they play it, and it's pretty funny. Our
son used to listen to pirate metal. That was your real genre.
This is close.
Of music, so.
Then you've got these rogue snackatron drones that deliver food.
Yeah, we have those at Ohio State.
We do have those. We'll go down, drive on campus, and there they go.
Yeah.
They're tenacious. So they're down there. And then there's Monty's pet butterfly named Lysander Featherhemp, voiced by none other than Daniel Radcliffe. So that's just a smattering of the craziness that is going on in this movie. And just picture something like, or imagine something like Edgar Wright taking the super bad guys and Scott Pilgrim to college and going to a class on blood effects, because that's kind of the feel that you get. It's very Edgar Wright. It's very camera swipes and quick cuts. And you have exploding heads and blood, which is always fun. And just so much going on with this stoner / slacker college type comedy. And we haven't even mentioned Lulu Wilson.
That's right. Becky.
Lulu Wilson is an old friend of theirs that they feel kind of betrayed by, because she has fallen in with the cool kids who really only like her credit card, but she tries to be a cool kid. And then she thinks the drugs are mints, and so she takes them too. And then she's involved. She's invested too. So the three of them have to get some pizza. And it's funny. I mean, it is funny as long as you don't mind the R-rated, gross out stoner humor. It is pretty darn funny. I'll tell you. It's just one of those where they just throw it. They just keep throwing it at the wall. And like I said, if this one doesn't land there, it's not going to linger. Here we go. There's something else. There's something else coming down the hall. And it's coming down fast, and it's just wild and crazy and funny. And it's funny that to me that it's on not only Hulu, but Disney Plus, because when I think of Disney movies, I do not think of this. But yeah, it had me laughing. It had me laughing a lot. So highly recommend the pizza, or just Pete, not the pizza movie, right?
Yeah.
It's just pizza movie.
Which, fun fact, that was a placeholder title, and then they just never changed it.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, they're on a hunt for a pizza,
perfect, yeah.
and if they don't get it, bad things happen. So enjoy. It's crazy and it's funny and it's on Hulu and Disney Plus.
Next, it's the latest from Takashi Miike. Akuto and Ryoma meet in juvenile detention and become best friends. They pursue their dream of participating in the martial arts event Breaking Down. However, rivalries soon turn their dreams into unexpected conflicts. It's Blue Fight, the breaking down of young blue warriors, or Blazing Fists.
Ha 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 ha. Yes, since this podcast has started, Takashi Miike has made 3 more films.
Yes.
This is his 260th film, something like that.
He has, in fact, made more than 100 feature films.
Insane.
Takashi Miike, yeah.
Insane.
And we're huge Miike fans.
Go Zoo!
Go Zoo! We love so many of his films. We've seen so many, not all 100, to be honest with you, but we've seen a lot of his films, and I'm always excited when a new one comes out. And he really crosses genres. He's known mainly for his horror films, like Audition, or One Missed Call, Ichi the Killer. But he's also done he's done a lot of stuff with Yakuza. He's done a lot of stuff with like old school samurai films. He's just done a lot of different kinds of films, and not all of them land. So this one, which has so many different titles, Blazing Fists, it's mainly being referred to in the United States, is just a straight up sports drama action film, sort of your Rocky or your like a Jean-Claude Van Damme kind of a thing. And as the synopsis says, two young men meet in juvie. And it's interesting too, because, they show us the grimy, gritty juvie, and it's like these polite young men all dressed properly, and they're like raking the yards, and they have sun hats on. I mean, it's the tidiest, least violent, and there's like one guard, and he's kind of rude, and like all of them are like, we'll never go to juvie again, I'll let them kill me first. And I thought, doesn't seem that bad to me. I don't know. But they get out after a motivational speaker who has been in juvie, and then he turned his life around and he became a professional MMA fighter, and now he has a show, and you can audition to be on this show and fight in the octagon against somebody else. And so that becomes their life's ambition, is to get on the show, to be these fighters. And so then they get out of juvie and they take this job at this garage. So there's a lot of montages. There's learning professional skills montage. There's a lot of fight montages. Then they join a gym, and there's even more fight montages. But there's also a really colorfully dressed gang of roving thugs in their town, and they have it out for these two guys for no reason that anybody fully explains. And then there's also these really bad Yakuza guys who come into town, and everything gets mixed up, all in their attempt to get onto this TV show. The movie is 2 hours long. Man, it feels it. It felt like 3. It's every cliche you've ever seen in a sports movie, willy-nilly packed together, so that normally the cliches are there. You see them coming, but they build tension toward this finale. Not here. They're just like, let's have this happen now. Maybe this could happen now. And then there are like 2 or 3 sequences which are fun, because some weird old man will just start clapping and maybe roll across the screen on a chair. And you're like, okay, I would rather see a movie about that person. I really wanted to like this movie.
Yeah.
And I would say that about 90 minutes in, you finally get a good Miike action sequence with blood and with a lot of bodies and a lot going on. But up until then, every single instance of momentum is just murdered by these long, ponderous, dialogue-heavy sequences. And at one point, they're trying to get together a gang of people to go save this guy who's been kidnapped by the Yakuza, who is actively being tortured. And the amount of time they waste thanking each other, convincing each other, looking doubtfully at each other, I'm like, well, he's clearly dead, so just go get some coffee. The pacing is way off in this movie. I really wanted to like it, and I really did not like it.
Well, all 100 can't be winners.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
so this
true.
is, you also could find it under the title Blue Fight, I think is one. If you look on IMDb, that's the poster says Blue Fight.
There's also Blue Fight, the breaking down of young blue warriors, which is a lot of words, most of them unnecessary.
Or Blazing Fists.
Blazing Fists.
Which, yeah. But that one's in theaters or streaming?
It is streaming.
That one is streaming. So, I get it. If you're a Miike fan, as we are, you want to check it out. But this one ended up being disappointing for streaming now.
And in theaters, another historical drama, this one set in 1937 in the USSR. A newly appointed prosecutor discovers an undestroyed letter from a prisoner that reveals corruption in the secret police, the NKVD. His search for the truth becomes dangerous. It's Two Prosecutors.
This was reviewed at MaddWolf.com by Rachel Willis, and this is one that she really liked.
She did. So it's a historical drama. It tells a true story about a prosecutor at Stalinist Russia. And in and of itself, it's fascinating. It's riveting. And the lead performance is really compelling. This young prosecutor who's full of optimism when it's very frustrating that he would be in Stalinist Russia, full of optimism. But the thing that makes the movie more powerful is that it's a great encapsulation of why living in an authoritarian society is bad for everybody. So it kind of packs a double wallop just on its own. It's a very solid, really well shot, really well acted, tense thriller that has packs more of a punch than the last Takashi Miike movie.
And this is co-writer and director Sergei Loznitsa. Yep. And I hope I pronounced that right. But yeah, good one and very relevant, as you might imagine. And that is called Two Prosecutors, and it is
it's in theaters.
That's in theaters. And you can check out Rachel's full review. That's available now at MaddWolf.com. So looking ahead to next week, one we just saw the other night, and that'll be fun to talk about. Yeah. Faces of Death. You remember that? Remember that from back in the day in the video store? Faces of Death. Well, there's a new spin on it that we'll talk about next week.
Also, You, Me, and Tuscany.
Romantic comedy or romantic drama, I guess. Haven't seen it yet. We'll find out. Hamlet. Yep. The real thing.
Yeah, this one's with Riz Ahmed. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm excited about that. Newborn, a new horror film that's only going to be released to AMC theaters.
Yeah, interesting. One called Exit 8.
Ooh, it's another new horror movie I'm very excited about. Hunting Matthew Nichols.
Yeah, this is nice because we saw this, I think, 2 years ago. We had it premiere at Nightmares Film Festival here in Columbus. It was one of our picks. Enjoyed it. I'm really glad to see it getting not only a distribution, but theatrical. That's very nice.
It is.
That's a Canadian production. Looking forward to talking about that next week.
Also, Chow, a new anime film.
One called Outcome.
And one called Beast.
All right. That's a few next week. And we have a few this week. So what do you think? You want to talk about the drama after you've seen it? Or
no spoilers.
No spoilers. Or maybe Super Mario or Pizza Movie. How crazy was that? You can always, or you want to talk about pizza toppings? Pineapple? You want to yell at me for loving pineapple? Get in line.
Yeah, get in line. I'm in the front of that line. Because here's the thing about pineapple. I don't care if he eats pineapple on pizza, but we can't really share a pizza because pineapple taints everything it touches.
With deliciousness.
Can't get the taste off of the cheese from the other side of the pizza.
It's the best. All right.
It's not.
We're going to have to go back to those blazing fists here in a minute. But keep in touch. You can always find us, Mad Wolf Columbus, on all the socials. Of course, the Mad Wolf channel right here on YouTube. And our other podcast, Fright Club.
That's right.
You can find that on all the normal avenues. If you want to just talk about horror movies,
that's right.
Come sit next to us. We're always talking about horror movies on the Fright Club podcast. So a lot of ways to keep in touch. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Until then, she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Screening Room Podcast and our new mics.
See ya.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.